Did you know that the best foam cleanser for oily skin is one that actually shouldn't dry your skin? In this week's episode of the slideshow, I'm going to spill the beans on how to harmonize oily skin from the outside in. When it comes to my top criteria for choosing a face wash for oily skin, it boils down to the following. Firstly, one with a foam texture is generally going to leave oily skin feeling cleaner and is going to be way more satisfying from an end user perspective. However, we know that most surfactants that produce a foam also tend to be highly alkaline, thus disrupting the generally acidic pH of skin. For this reason, I recommend choosing a cleanser that is based on an amino acid surfactant or a botanical emulsifier instead of sodium lauryl sulfate-based surfactants. In terms of botanical emulsifiers, I'm referring to those which are based on soy, honey, or saponins, which are essentially soap-like substances which are naturally found in plants. And it is also an added bonus if moisturizing actives, for instance glycerin, can be included in the formulation as it can repair the skin barrier. Now, the science behind oily skin is actually fairly straightforward. Oil is a natural emollient which helps to strengthen and repair the skin barrier. The trouble is when there is an imbalance between oil secretion and the actual barrier needs of skin. The mismatch occurs when there is faulty signaling. At the onset of puberty, that's when hormones are secreted. Specifically, it is testosterone that causes a surge in oil gland activity. And while this is beneficial in most cases, especially if one suffers from dry skin conditions such as eczema, in this case, many eczema sufferers find their condition improving after puberty, excess oil production becomes a problem when sebaceous glands fail to regulate the amount secreted, thus worsening symptoms in those who are already acne-prone. Now, as to what causes oily skin, dermatologists generally consider it to be a largely genetic issue. However, it is noteworthy that oily skin can also be caused by misuse of skincare products. For instance, the usage of astringent skincare that contains alcohol, salicylic, or alpha-hydroxy acids. And while many of these actives can be considered therapeutic, daily use of these actives in a face wash, for instance, can cause skin barrier damage. And in my opinion, the symptoms of oily skin must always be treated appropriately. For one, symptoms can be highly embarrassing. The high shine appearance of the complexion, for instance, isn't merely a cosmetic concern. It can be inconvenient if it leads to makeup wearing off rapidly, besides being a thoroughly uncomfortable sensation. In addition, oily skin can be a symptom of acne vulgaris and can also induce comedone formation. Those living in humid climates will also find that the sticky sensation is quite disturbing. A lesser-known fact is that excessively oily complexions are prone to increased skin inflammation, thus even accelerating the inflammaging process. There are some important terms to know when we're discussing oily skin, and they are the following. First of all, hyperseborrhea. Now, what exactly is hyperseborrhea? Hyperseborrhea refers to a state of excess oil production and is often associated with acne. TWL, which stands for transepidermal water loss, is the normal evaporative process that occurs due to water loss via the skin barrier, one that is influenced by environmental factors. Sebaceous glands are the correct medical terminology for oil glands, the glands closely associated with your hair follicles, which cover every inch of skin apart from your palms and soles. And finally, paradoxical reactive hyperseborrhea is the phenomenon of excess oil production that arises from the use of astringent skincare products such as harsh cleansers. When stripped of natural protective oils, the skin barrier feels dehydrated and sends signals to the oil glands almost as if the skin is crying out for help. And this ultimately leads to skin compensating by producing even more oil. As for those who wonder if foam cleansers are also recommended for those with a combination and dry skin types, here's my answer. Those with dry skin will do well to avoid chemical surfactant-based lathering face washes altogether, and instead they should opt for gentle cleansers such as oil emulsion type face washes. Those with combination skin can reduce the amount of cleanser used over the dry areas of the face, such as the cheeks, if they find their skin getting dehydrated. The same rules for choosing a cleanser as we've discussed above applies. Now, when is a two-step only skincare routine possible in terms of a daytime routine? For instance, when we are skipping makeup removal. Now, we are used to hearing about this three-step skincare routine, essentially cleanse, tone, and moisturize, which has been the classic skincare mantra since the 90s. Double cleansing became a thing in the last decade or so, though many skincare experts have long advocated a double cleanse, which is oil cleansing followed by foam cleansing. With the latest advancements in textile technology, here's something you might want to take note of. Even if you wear makeup, it is possible to technically skip the double cleanse, and the hack here is to use a microfiber textile that can physically pick up the makeup particles as a way to attract the pigment, which results in makeup removal with water as a solvent alone. The best way, in fact, to use a foaming cleanser in a one-step cleansing sort of regimen, so a two-step cleansing routine, which is essentially single-step cleansing followed by moisturizing, in this case is to pair your cleanser with a handheld device in the form of a pore vacuum or a sonic cleansing device. And here's exactly how you do it. First, apply a sufficient amount of cleanser on damp skin. On your forehead, nose, and chin, which is the T-zone, all these areas may require special attention for those with combination oily skin, and it's important to choose a dermatologist recommended gentle cleanser with hydrating properties and infused with antioxidants for maximum benefits. On that note, I would generally avoid cleansers with AHAs and BHAs if you have any history of skin sensitivity or live in a summer-type climate. An alternative is to use these only on a weekly basis and definitely not as a daily face wash. Using a device of your choice, glide the pore vacuum with a spatula over the entire face, focusing on the oilier parts of your face with two passes instead of a single pass, and also skipping areas that feel particularly dry or dehydrated. In terms of how you should pair your cleansing devices with your foam cleanser, it is helpful to first understand the two main types of cleansing devices. We're talking about sonic cleansing here. So we have the spatula style type of sonic cleanser, which is used in clinics that offer the Korean Medifacial, and we also have the silicone brush head, which is marketed mainly for home use. I would recommend the spatula style for the following reasons: for hygiene and ease of use, less skin irritation of sensitive skin, and the possibility to choose dual function settings in the reverse blade models, which allow for cleansing and infusion in a single device. The key principle behind facial cleansing devices essentially is this: the most efficient way to compress the double cleansing ritual and in fact make the steps go further for you is to incorporate cleansing devices. And here's why. Essentially, these devices help to physically exfoliate dead skin cells at the same time cleansing skin. Additionally, the pairing of actives such as antioxidants in a cleanser can help to regulate the skin microenvironment. And finally, devices using microdermabrasion or hydrodermabrasion technology enhances absorption of the actives via transdermal delivery. For optimal results, choose specifically formulated cleansers like the Meal Honey Cleanser. At the end of the day, there are some best practices to bear in mind when choosing cleansers for oily skin. It is important to choose a dermatologist recommended gentle cleanser with hydrating properties and antioxidants, even if you have oily skin and feel that you would prefer a more stringent type of cleanser. Always remember to apply just the appropriate amount of cleanser on skin and not too much. When you're using a cleansing device, such as a pore vacuum or a sonic cleanser, glide it over the oilier parts of the face and skip areas that feel dry or irritated. Those with oily skin may also wish to avoid blotting papers, as this can further dehydrate the skin barrier and worsen paradoxical hyperseborrhea. Instead, facial mist can be used as an on-the-go quick cleansing step throughout the day. Those with oily skin can also help to regulate their skin microenvironment with the antioxidants and barrier repair actives in hydrating facial mist. Are you a budding skincare formulator? For a complete course on skincare formulation and actives, get the Skincare and Cosmetic Ingredients Dictionary, which includes detailed case studies by me, board-certified dermatologist and Chief Scientific Officer of Dr.TWL Dermaceuticals, Dr. Teo Wan Lin.